This is going to cause confusion.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. I think somebody else tried to start another meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Brother Kofi or okay. So
Hello.
good, everybody back. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
somebody tried to start another meeting. I'm not sure who. Let me email.
Yeah, I have the same problem, but I've just relogged on and it works.
Yes, sir. Wait, let me email
Yeah,
them.
I did the same.
Yeah, let me email them right now.
So I started, when I clicked the link, it says host is in another meeting. So I went to use the information on the flyer.
Yeah. Same thing that happened to me.
I think what happened, while we're on, somebody else logged in and tried to start the meeting.
Already
Had a meeting going.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good morning, Brother Kwesi.
Brother Kwesi Budu, good morning.
Yeah. You all got me up early this morning. I just fixed my breakfast, my egg and English muffin.
Well, they were talking about moving this back an hour. This would be 1 o'clock in Ghana, so you could have been up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. I hope
that's not being good.
Yeah, that'll be. I'll try.
I woke up early. Good for you. No, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I woke up early. I said no, I don't have to be late like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Good to see you all.
Good boy. Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Senior. How are you?
I'm okay. Who's that? Dan?
Oh, that was Brother Kwame Oklu.
Oh, okay. I don't see him but you. Let me see.
Okay.
The camera is high, so yeah.
Yeah, okay. I see Linda. Linda, good morning.
Good morning. It's actually afternoon here.
Okay, all right. You did good. You did good. You're the first, right?
Yeah, I think Hillary have also joined.
Yeah, Dongo's also on. Yes.
Okay, Hillary, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, yeah, good afternoon. Yeah. It's very dark over here. If you don't take care, you will sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'll go off camera and munch on my breakfast and I'll be back, okay?
Why not? Why not?
All right.
Why not?
Oh, good morning, Dr. Tempogre.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. Hello.
Yes. Oh, okay. Maybe that's his phone.
Guess one.
Okay, it's 3 after, and the moderator, let me see if I can get a hold of her.
Okay, I see a new face, Sarah. Yeah.
A national memorial ceremony for 3 people killed in a church 8 days ago by a militant with a knife. Speaking in East Castell.
Brother Ian.
Hello.
Hello, Brother Yan.
Hello, everybody.
All right. I went off and came back because I couldn't hear any sound.
I had problems connecting. I'm getting the first test in Ghana, so
Yeah.
network test in Ghana.
All right.
I had problems connecting, but well, I got in. I had to. At times, had to tell me. I think I was probably connecting a different one. Yeah. It's 2:10. Our speakers haven't come yet.
I know.
Yeah, I'm on the phone with the moderator. She's having issues joining, signing in. So let me help her. Then I'll be right back on.
So, do you people have a president in America?
Say that again.
You, the American people, who is now your president?
It's a vacuum. It's a vacuum there. Interim. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. Yeah, somebody is making a lot of noise about recount. You know, African politician.
Yeah.
You lose the election. The winner cheated.
So they are recounting.
Yeah, recounting.
Everything.
Count every vote by hand, every vote. So it looks like Biden is ahead, but it's still too close to call. So we are waiting. Hopefully today, this weekend.
But it's 264 and 214. 264 and 214. So. Yeah.
Yeah, the secretary himself is back
Hello,
now.
Kofi. How is it? Yeah. Has it got lights now? Do you have lights now?
Okay, so I'm in. Nanan Katia just called to say he's having the same problem, so I will let him know. Oops.
They should use the. I was using link on the letter and I wasn't getting through. You should use the link, the address on the flyer, not the flyer address. It's to use the flyer address,
yes,
not the link on the letter.
Oh boy, what am I doing now? Where am I? Oh jeez, just a sec. Where'd he go? Hello? Oh, what now?
Hello, we can hear you.
I don't know what's going on. I think, oh, okay. Okay. So you can hear me?
We can see you, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So let me try and get, I'm going to send, yeah, because he's experiencing the same thing, which is saying, okay.
If they click on the link, it doesn't work. They have to use the information on the flyer.
Yeah, the link doesn't work.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
clicking on the link and it didn't work.
Okay, so let me.
Oh, I see.
I didn't write it down. Can someone give me the meeting ID again and then the password?
That is
Yes, let me.
Eight
just-
Okay, have you got lights
8110.
now?
I just
Pardon?
emailed it.
You
just
emailed it?
I just emailed it to him, but let me call it
Oh,
out.
you've
for him.
emailed it to him. Okay.
Yeah, I just emailed it to him, but hold on just a second. Let me call
Okay.
it out. I'll call it out to you also. All right, the meeting ID is 810
810,
0235
0235,
8455.
8455.
Yes. And then the password is 534 293.
Hold on a second. Password. Okay. Password again?
534 293.
293.
9 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, he was trying to get oh, okay, great. He's going to use that.
Okay.
Because he also has two other people with him that
Okay.
trying to join in as well.
Okay.
So
I think there's a mistake with the link.
yeah.
No,
Because I
no,
really
I
suffered.
think what happened was we had the link was originally working, but I think what happened was somebody else.
Because yesterday I tested it and it did go into the Zoom.
So
Yeah, somebody tried to start a meeting, another meeting. So originally those of us who were on got kicked off. Then we had to log back on. So that's what I think, happened to the link. So
it says another meeting is on.
Yeah, that's what it keeps saying.
It's important that they use the flyer. Next time we have to be careful. Probably we just let them use the flyer.
The flyer.
The address.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, or give the alternates that or mention it somewhere that if you're having problems, just use, log on to Zoom and put the information in directly.
It was, normally the link has always worked.
I know.
Somebody started the meeting, while we had the meeting on, and it kicked
it's
off.
not good.
All that. That's what happened on that. So we just need to designate just one person to start all the meetings.
Okay, so hopefully he will be on soon.
We normally introduce ourselves, but almost everybody here knows before the meetings in order to keep on talking. So otherwise, it's so boring waiting for the speaker. Can people, if you don't mind, I know everybody knows each other now. There are no new people around, but we can still, what do you people think? Introduce ourselves.
Well, I'm Phyllis Datson-Born. I'm designated moderator for today, so I think everybody, as you said, has seen me on the panel before. So
I am Nyaya Yen, and yeah, so I am in Ghana. So yeah.
I'm in Canada, by the way. Sorry.
I am in Ghana now, and I'm a member of the social justice movement, you know, and then interim president of the PAG. Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm Kwesi Bodo. I'm here in San Francisco, California. Nice to meet everybody.
Nice meeting you too.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I am Brandon Washite, and I'm speaking from Ho in Ghana. And yeah, I am with the People's Democratic Movement. I'm the interim secretary for now.
Okay. Kofi Roberts, the interim secretary for CNNA, PAG. I live in Atlanta, but I'm in Ghana right now.
Oh.
Okay, next.
I'm Dan Bentel, member of CNNA PAG. I'm in Florida.
Sarah.
Okay, I'm also Linda. I'm in Bolga, and a member of Social Justice Movement.
Miss Linda, how are you?
I'm good. And you?
I can't complain too much. I've been through a lot, so, but I'm surviving.
You got your power back.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they did, yeah, but we lost power and we lost Wi-Fi. So I was incommunicado for quite a while. In Ghana now, actually. I'm in Ghana now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm Eugene Asola. I am in Georgia, in the US.
I'm Kwame Oklu. I'm in London.
Okay, so I'm Sayo Afiaka. I'm a member of the Social Justice Movement. I'm based in Accra, Ghana. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Who hasn't introduced himself or herself?
Who did? Who hasn't?
I think Hillary have not.
She dropped out. She
Hillary.
left.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, she left.
And Nicholas?
My name is Nicholas Atampugri, Social Justice Movement, currently in London.
All right.
Anyway, I think it's long overdue. The time is now. This is the longest time we've ever waited. It's no fault of anybody. I think there is a problem linked today. I personally had problems connecting into today's meeting by using the link until I talked to Atams and he said, why don't you use the flyer address? So I'm quite sure that a lot of people may be having problems getting in. Hopefully, when we start, people will come in and then we continue. I think the main speaker is in, Nana is in.
Is he in now?
Yeah, will be introduced by the moderator. Yeah.
Is in? Yeah, he's in. Nana
yes,
is
in. He's in. Yes.
Yeah, he's in. So briefly, I wouldn't like to go into details. Normally, I'd explain what PAG stands for. Everybody here knows what PAG stands for. So without much further ado, I'll hand you over to Phyllis, who will take us through the meetings, you know, so you call moderate, you know, and people can participate after the lead discussions, you know, ask questions, comments, and all others. So without much further ado, because we're starting very late today, as I said about the problem. So over to you, Phyllis.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So welcome everybody once again. And today we are talking about social and economic justice, access to opportunities for Ghanaians. What are the barriers? Social and economic justice, as we all know, is a very broad topic spanning from access to justice in education, housing, gender and childcare, as well as employment and other basic needs. So we have split the topic for multiple town hall meetings. And today we are going to go into a general overview of social justice. Our presenter will be taking us through that. And what I want to just lay down a few ground rules in terms of making sure everybody can enjoy the presentation and have a lively discussion at the end of the presentation. We want to make sure that if you are not speaking, you are muted. And if you have a question during the presentation, please use the hands signal or write it in the chat and it will be queued. Also, we would ask everybody to try and keep quiet if you are leaving, going in and out so that it doesn't disturb other people. Okay, so I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker as we are running late. I will be Nana Nketia the fourth is our presenter for today, and I want to welcome him. I will just say a few words about Nana, and then I will open it to him to go onto the session. Nana Kwabena Nketia the fifth is the Omanhene of Esikado traditional area in the western region of Ghana. He attended Mfantsipim School in Cape Coast and continued on to obtain a first degree in modern history at the University of Ghana, Legon. He subsequently obtained his Doctor of Philosophy in African History at the University of Calabar in Nigeria. Nana Nketia is an avid Pan-Africanist, a distinguished speaker and author with special interests in African heritage, culture and religion, governance, law, and philosophy. His latest book, entitled African Culture in Governance and Development, The Ghana Paradigm, published by Ghana University Press, is a must-read. He holds strong views on access to justice for all and has used his platform to advocate for transformation and reform of the justice delivery system to reflect Ghanaian heritage in a manner that matches the cultural norms and values so as to advance development and ensure more peace and security in society. Over the years, Nana Nketia has made several contributions to the social, cultural, economic, and political development of Ghana, and has been bestowed with several awards of recognition, such as Western Region Personality of the Year and Traditional Ruler of the Year, to mention but two. Nana Nketia has chaired and been an active member of several boards, commissions, committees, and conferences, including Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and National Planning Committee of the National Festivals of Arts and Culture. Nana continues to be highly instrumental in helping to shape the social and economic fabric of Ghana. As chair of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum Governing Board, chair of Water Aid Ghana member. Pardon? Is there someone? Okay, sorry. Member of Western Region. Please mute yourself. Okay. Member of the Western Region House of Chiefs, member of the National House of Chiefs, and member of the Pan-African Festival Foundation, PANAFEST. There's so much more to say. However, in the interest of time, let me just say, as a proud member of the Western region myself of Ghana, I am honored and delighted to welcome as principal speaker for this town hall session on social and economic justice for all Ghanaians, my friend and brother, Nana Kobna Nketia V. It's all yours, Nana. Please go ahead.
Lady Phyllis.
Yeah,
Can you hear
hello.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
First, let me thank you very much for all the accolades you were giving me. I don't think I deserve them. That's one. Secondly, let me point out that there were three people who were trying to get on, and they might get on. One is Professor James Small, my very good elder. And then another one is Osaberima, the chief of Mamfe. And a beautiful lady from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, who is also trying to get on. So if they come, then I hope that COFROB will be able to put them on. Secondly, I'm not Nana Kobna Nketia IV.
Oh,
Nana
sorry,
Nketia,
I made a mistake. That's the fifth.
Nana Nketia IV was your father's friend.
I know.
The only chief to go into prison for independence, spent the longest time in prison in the struggle for our independence, and was the only one who was tortured in our independence struggle. It is something most Ghanaians don't know. So I'm not even fit to wear his sandals. So when she said the fourth, I'd have kept quiet and taken that particular claim, but I'm not it. So please, if I correct that one. Two, a lot of the things that she said I was in the past. I'm just a humble village chief, minding my very humble village affairs. And I must first thank you and commend this forum that with all the turmoil and din going around with Ghanaians who want to be in positions, arguably, to rule the people, I wonder what that means, and make decisions about Ghana's economic resources, and presumably think of the security preservation and well-being of the unborn Ghanaian. And secondly, with the attention over the tragicomedy relating to the American elections and the choice of who our unchanging imperial master will be, I'm really surprised that this forum thought about convening this particular discussion on such a topic. And I said that's highly commendable. Initially, as Phyllis would know, I thought that the timing was a bit wrong. In current Ghana, most of you are fortunately not in Ghana, interestingly. You know, in Ghana, in the current Ghana, we have grown so wise that everything one says is perceived by the sages of the country, of the two major political parties, whose cultural mission and objectives lie in Europe and America, as either in support or against. So for humble villagers like me, it's better to shut up and watch things go on. So when Phyllis was saying that I've helped shaped, since I said, me? Please, we're not even in schedule have I helped shape anything.
Yes,
so generally it makes it very difficult to attempt to be an African in Ghana. Both sides, either hello.
Oh, we're having technical issues today.
Ibrahim, please, can you mute?
Who?
Ibrahim Bakamaria.
Please mute your microphone.
Hello?
Thank you. Nana,
Hello?
please go ahead.
Okay, are you sure this is not a sabotage? Anyway, the fact is that both major political parties, if you think about them very carefully, either consciously or unconsciously affirm what has become known as white superiority. So how do I become an acceptable Negro? Except then I become a Negro. And this is what in my book I refer to the Abro-Ba phenomenon. And if you are Fante, you understand what is meant by the word Abro, which is the white man's, Ba, the white man's child, which is today seen as the educated African and so on and so forth. That's the phenomenon that I'm trying not to be. Any attempt to be an African in Africa, or in Ghana, would lead to problems. In fact, certain mysterious things happen to you. There's been enough examples of people who try to be Africans in what I refer to as a BB man, you know? So an impassioned discussion on social justice in a divided Ghana in Africa today, I think seems a bit unwise. We have obviously thrown away the slogan, Africa for Africans, or Ghana for Ghanaians, just as the rest of the continent. With its epileptic disunion, Ghana is for Negroes. Some Africans have been persecuted for being immersed in their cultural identity. You know, I can give you examples, but in the early part of around 1900, 1880s to 1900, when Mensa Sabadam formed the Gon Fanti movement, they were ridiculed by the system that was ruling Ghana. And the Gon Fanti movement was just go back to being a native in the way you think, in the way you assess the world. Be yourself, go back to your cosmology. Whose vision do we use to look at the world? Is it from my own or somebody else's vision? So these are the things. And then you remember that recently we have this very handsome African leader, Thomas Sankara, who said we must learn to live the African way. It's the only way to live in freedom and with dignity. Of course, we all know what happened to Sankara. I can give you more examples. But the two words, social and justice, may be, and I know Phyllis tried to define it, may be and often interpreted in Ghana with partisan eyes. At which side is a humble chief like me, who is also ignorant. Forget the PhD, because I'm ignorant as the P and the H and the D, you know, to stand on. Now, the fact is that, Phyllis, awareness of organized society is awareness of power. The fact that you are aware doesn't give you power, but you are aware of once you become aware, you become aware of power. The consciousness of justice is also the consciousness of power. If you put the two together, you are referring to a power construct. That power construct must be owned. It is the ownership which manifests, the ownership of that power construct manifests in the use of that construct, and the use of it would either end you in social justice, in a functioning space, an oppression, abuse, and injustice in a dysfunctional space. Hence, one needs to understand, or some people will say overstand, and have a deep appreciation of the history and heritage of the power constructs of Ghana and Africa in order to be able to scratch the surface of any discussion of social justice. Now, you all know, I mean, I don't need to tell you, the one who defines, the one who owns the definition, owns the use and how it articulates the place. So whoever defines anything you use is the owner. So when Phyllis was talking about social justice, I asked myself the question, where did that definition come from? A lot of us use definitions that emanate out of Europe or America. And I asked myself, are we extensions of those particular areas? So our definitions of social justice, where does it emanate from? I looked at a few things on the internet with regard to social justice, and the songs were quite interesting. Everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. Jesus Christ. Everyone, look, when you had the Tsar and you had the peasants, and you talk about something like this, then you're talking about a revolution. When a privileged group and an underprivileged group, and you put such a statement there, you're talking about a revolution. So justice, the morally fair, where does the justice in Ghana emanate from? Who defined justice for us? Go to the law courts and see them wearing wigs and robes and come and tell me who defined justice in Ghana and what defines justice in Ghana. So to have justice, and you talk about character, you have to look at all these. Even the idea of society, where does it come from? Human rights. Are there any human rights in this world? Are there any human rights in Africa? Are there any human rights in Ghana? Where are the rights? Further, just oppose this with the indigenous African situation, where most of you come from. And you see that we tend to put this in the idea of the word Ubuntu, which is not about rights, but it's more about responsibilities. So where are the human responsibilities to ourselves and to our environment? You know, and where's the justice in this? So these are the things that we need to look at. If you look at the 1948 Geneva Convention, for example, we should right now be suing our colonial oppressors and asking them for reparations for what they have done to Africa. We are busy keeping everything they've done with us in place. So we have to be careful. Participation, access to what? Go and look at the Ghanaian constitution. How can you dig gold from your soil and somebody has to take it away? Who owns the gold? Who owns the minerals? Once you define and assess the ownership of those things and the person who uses it, you'll then be able to say, but is this just? Which society are they located in? Which community has it? What power do they have over it? What construct makes them have ownership? You talk about participation. Participation in what? 95% of the Ghanaians can barely speak English. 5% speak English. This is our official language. Another 10, you make it, take 10%, add 10% who've been through secondary schools, and we make a mockery when those of us who have that privilege of having been so well versed in the English language, we tend to think, oh, everybody is like us. I always make fun whenever people come to me and say, oh, Your Majesty. I say, please, can you translate? I'll say it in my language. And I can't speak my language, I speak Fante. I'll tell my linguist, please, can you tell him to translate Your Majesty into Fante? The person stays there for about 5 minutes and doesn't know what to say again. Oh, Your Highness. Highness what? So, you know, even the language we use, and if you go to the law courts and you hear these bewigged and enrobed gentlemen speaking, you ask yourself, where does their English come from? Because 9 out of 10, you don't even understand what they are saying. And when you are leaving the law courts, you find people chasing their counsels, asking them, so what did he say and what should we do? And ask yourself, justice? How can you have justice when you don't even understand the proceedings of a case in court? How much more the proceedings of parliament and so on and so forth? Yesterday, I think the Ghanaian parliament, for example, passed a GMO bill. Even Europe, we all know what GMO is doing to agricultural systems. Maybe today we might not see it, but what of the future? Did the sovereign entity of, so-called sovereign entity of Ghana, think about the yet unborn, which is part of the African heritage? So these are the challenges we have. We participate. Participate in what? Participate in what? So let's be careful when we are talking about social justice and think that using these European things, equity, I laugh. If you come from a vertical society, it is very difficult to have equality or equity. And you know that. I don't even have to say this. If you have the money, you have a privileged position within, there's nothing you cannot do, not just in Ghana, but all over the place. You know, so these are the things that you need to look at. I was talking to a chief yesterday, and I told him that, we'll be doing, he may not come into this particular program. But when I told him that, I have to speak on, in fact, it was last night, I said, Nana, there's a program on social justice in Ghana. And then he looked at me quizzically and said, it's an oxymoron to talk about social justice in Ghana. Now, let me say it again. It's an oxymoron to talk about social justice in Ghana. What did I do? And I hope you are doing the same. I laughed. My God, I laughed so much. Then I felt this melancholy because I remember that what the guy said referred to my country, my Ghana. And let me also point out that I used to say my Ghana. I've stopped saying that because my is possessive. I realized that my thoughts belong to another world entirely, which is really not part of the thought systems of Ghana today. In the indigenous world, maybe I am. In fact, his statement made me recollect that Jeffries has a phrase. He says, the paralysis of analysis. When you get into this paralysis of analysis, when you discuss Africa's challenges in the search for solutions, and definitely in the search for social justice. My predecessor, whom Phyllis spoke about, and made me feel happy that it was me, stated some time ago that the problem or the bane of Africa is the academic. That was his time. Today, it is more of the intellectual. From whose world is he thinking about Africa? From whose standpoint? Kesley Hayford and Kobna Sekidam from the Gold Coast National Research Institute in 1913, with the objective of removing the white man's standpoint from the black man's point of view. Whose standpoint does the academic or the intellectual use today? Our current president, quite eloquent, put the challenge we have in 2016 in a very succinct manner. Yet, and he said it in Twi. My Twi is bad, so please forgive me if I don't say it too well. Yet he sikaso, and so I come zihen. I hope I'm right. Let me translate it. We sit on gold, and yet we are hungry. His vice president, then they were running for election. His vice president put it also nicely in a beautiful slogan, the money is here. I smiled to myself. This is the African problem. Professor Small puts it this way, and I'm quoting Professor Small. I hope he gets on. This continent is the biggest and most precious piece of real estate in the world. And the question, in order to get our perspective of social justice, is that, so who does this real estate belong to? Who benefits from Africa or benefits from Ghana and Africans? Ownership determines the path of social justice. Now, the logic of freedom, the logic of justice, and the logic of society is inherent in the ownership of power constructs. And that is why I think our motto is freedom and justice. The thing is that the motto, these are pursuits. We never attain freedom. We never attain justice. We are in pursuit of these things. So you look at that, the philosophy and the control of the institutions of state determine oppression as well as the absence of oppression. The institutions, that's what I refer to as the institutions of state. Are the institutions that we have in Ghana or in the rest of Africa, are they indigenous? Are they homegrown, or they were imported? If imported, then who imported it? And for whom? And for what purpose? If we had the police force, for example, who imported it, why did he import it? You know, what did he want to achieve for it? I can tell you 1,000,001 stories about the police, but I don't want to go in there. In determining, but when you determine this, then you'll find the oppressor, you'll find the oppressed, you'll find the repressed, you'll find the suppressed, you find the depressed, and you find the free and the creative person. Ownership determines the nature of social justice. Who or what owns Ghana and the continent as the most precious piece of real estate? Yeah. Please, just look at the background in this way. Study the various philosophies to really understand. Study the various philosophies and types of violence in human existence, which compel, manipulate, or are used to control and herd us. Herd in this sense is H-E-R-D, human beings, most especially the African human. Now, you see, for me, you always will have to look at the background the person comes from. So let me make you laugh a bit. From the platform on which I stand, if I tell you about it, it may bring a modicum of understanding to my underprivileged thoughts. And that will mean that I have to enter my naive boring and into my naive, boring and unsophisticated village upbringing. So please forgive me if I avoid that. However, let me also say here that I love and I'm very interested in the thoughts of my ancestors. I'm interested in the thoughts of Saba, Kobna Sechi, Kingsley Hayford, Kwame Nkrumah, Pobi Bine. I know most of you don't know Pobi Bine, maybe Phyllis does. But my late uncle referred to him, who was a union, just a railway engine man. My late uncle referred to him as the bravest man in Ghana's independence struggle. Ayi Kweyama, and also my predecessor, Nankase IV, among others, when I talked to Ghana. However, outside Ghana, my thoughts are with Frantz Fanon, the great Malcolm, whom I love, Francis Cress Welsing, John Henry Clark, Chinwezu, Wade Nobles, Naim Akbar, Issa Hilliard, Dr. Jeffries, Professor Small, Secretary Amika Cabral, Kwame Ture, and Marcus Garvey, just to name a few. So that should tell you about my thoughts, the information or the things I read that shapes my thinking. And one may agree with W.B. Du Bois that now is the accepted time, not tomorrow. Not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done and not some future day or future year. Hence, let me commend you again that now is the time. If you and I do not discuss social justice today, then when? Now, interestingly, the whole idea of Ghana's unfinished, and I use this because people think that independence is like George Bush after bombing, was it Afghanistan or Iraq, made a statement, I've forgotten what statement it is, but I'm sure you know. Oh, the independence struggle is over. No, we are
mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. We haven't accomplished the mission at all. We haven't even begun. And if you look at our current president, he said something quite interesting. Most of us have not even, just like the first one he says, Ghana beyond aid. It's simply an affirmation of our lack of independence. If you're independent, you don't need aid. You see, so our unfinished independence struggle was to do with social justice. And I keep saying that if the British had had social justice as their agenda, and make fun, we may still have been enduring as ignorant slaves, happily singing praises about our shackles. Both slavery and its horrible offspring, colonialism, are antithetical to social justice. Now, please listen carefully. Any system mothered or fathered by slavery or colonialism has to be completely overthrown in order to achieve any form of social justice. The mind of Europe used in entering Africa was uncompromisingly evil. It is inconsistent for a culture whose stream of consciousness generates thoughts which deny the human worth of other cultures to engender respect for the beings of the denigrated culture, unless there's an authentic upheaval with regard to the fundament of its consciousness. In 1957, was there an authentic upheaval? I put it to you as Ghanaians and as Africans. Colonialism is evil. Evil does not generate good. The devil cannot do good. It's impossible. Therefore, any culture that generates colonialism is incapable of generating good for the colonized space. Simple as ABC. Darkness does not generate light. If I were to use a Euro-Christian dictionary and framework for evangelization, colonialism is satanic. It's a criminal enterprise emanating from a culture whose hypocritical owners marks the reality of their selfishness, covetousness, and greed in seemingly altruistic religions, philosophies and ideologies to deceive the unwary or the ignorant. Please be clear about this. And the only way that you can put colonialism in a space, is through violence, whether it is physical, whether it is psychical, whether it's mental or it's spiritual. These are the war waged on a particular space. Are we aware of this? We can only achieve social justice or even think about our social justice if we become aware that we are in a war. The results of this, as you can see, for the unwary, unprepared, or the unsuspecting victims is psychological devastation. Now, you see, sometimes we give up and people will tell you, no, maybe the white man should have stayed. Any society which has experienced oppression will detest one thing, will detest oppression. What would it learn from oppression? It is to avoid being like the oppressor. Have you and I have we learned from oppression? Have we avoided being like the oppressor? There cannot be colonialism without oppression of a people and the domination of a defined space. Oppression and exploitation are manifestation, exhibiting the horrid faces, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go too much into this, but I hope I get my meaning clear. And that if we have to be free, if we have to achieve social justice, then there must be a total cultural revolution that is born out of struggle. The struggle lies in the overthrow of the owners or the keepers of the colonialists and its neo-colonialist culture. And let me tell you, it is defeatist to compromise with any facet of oppression or exploitation, because that is accepting or compromising with your story of social justice. That struggle lies in the mode of rupture, and that struggle must be revolutionary. So this is the whole thing. Are you thinking of revolution if you're going to discuss social justice? A total breaking away from a system that dominates you, that exploits you in every way? You can't talk about it. You haven't even begun if you're not in that kind of framework of thinking. A real revolution is not an abstraction. Revolution is the people in action, struggling, building, and questioning their achievements. Between the revolution and its opposite, there is no room for peaceful coexistence. In fact, that's to be independent of or from colonialism or neo-colonialism requires a revolutionary split from colonial institutions, jurisprudence, political and socio-economic philosophies. Anytime we shout the IMF, we shout this, who goes there? To talk about social justice, to talk about self-reliance. Who determines your economic philosophies? You think that somebody in Chicago, Milton Friedman, is going to sit down and think about Africa and blah, 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 and devise theories? You think Keynes is going to devise economic theories for you? Which psychology determines the philosophy that comes out of you to use in whatever? If you remember, after Nkrumah's overthrow in 1966, they brought special economists, Tom Killick and so on, down to Ghana to re-engineer and create a new philosophy of economics for Ghana that went against self-reliance. We are paying a price for it up till today. Those foundations, we've learned of them without understanding that no matter how we do, we take 2 steps forward, 1 step forward and take 2 steps backwards. That has ended up in the SABs, the enhanced SABs, and so on and so forth. How do you have those things if you don't have and have social justice? You know? So here we are. Which paradigm have we put in place that is strong? And they would allow you, those benefiting from you would never, the privileged group will never allow you to even have time to think. And if I may borrow from my saints, Malcolm X, he says, you don't have a revolution in which you love your enemy. You don't have a revolution in which you are begging the system of exploitation to integrate you into it. Revolution overturns systems. Revolutions destroy systems. What have we destroyed ever since we claimed we were independent in 1957? One cannot have a revolution in which the oppressed accepts the oppressor as the tutor of his or her liberation. Is it possible? The person oppressing you. Read Biko. Obviously, to do that against the idea of struggle and the gullibility of the oppressed, as well as a lack of insight into the nature of his or her oppression. Go and consider your party systems. Look at them carefully. Who do they serve? as Mao said. And I remember reading that when I was in what's the name of the place, in the university. We used to shout these things without any meaning. Just a revolution is an insurrection. It's an act of violence which one class overthrows another. Simple. Which class are you in? That you're going to talk about social justice. Careful. I could go in and talk about these things, but we don't have enough time because there must be a discussion going on. But if you look at it, one of the most iconic speeches in relation to Ghana is the Eve of Independence speech by Kwame Nkrumah. That speech inspires, it motivates, it makes something special come out of you. But what most of us don't analyze that it is philosophical in its brevity. Nkrumah stated, and let me just have a little more time to state this. I can see that you are here in your millions. And my last warning to you is that you are to stand firm behind us so that we can prove to the world when the African is given a chance, he can show the world he is somebody. I won't comment about that. I love Nkrumah. Then he goes on, he says, we have awakened. We will not sleep anymore. Today, from now on, there's a new African in the world. I always read this thing or listen to it, and I say that with hindsight, I think that Nkrumah was either hallucinating or delusional or in some state of imagined reality. Which Africans were Nkrumah addressing? And was he on the same page with the listeners? Which of his listeners understood and appreciated the consciousness of the Nkrumahs and were in agreement? Was there a mass commitment to his vision? Which Africans were to stand firm behind us? And who were the us? But then he goes on, who were the Africans being given a last warning? Was to give the African a chance when both the resources of Africa and her labor were vital to the needs of those who came to colonize her in the first place. Did the masses understand or appreciate the real meaning and ramifications of colonialism? You know, I could go on, but then he says, who wouldn't sleep anymore? And if you watch that clip very carefully, which most of us don't, when emotionally the flag of Ghana goes up and the anthem, of course, the words of that anthem we've now thrown into the sea at, what's the name? Phyllis, your place, at Busia. We've thrown the words away in our effort to get rid of the whole idea of Nkrumah and breaking away from colonialism. The police band played the anthem, but the anthem on that historic occasion symbolically most people haven't noticed. You see him waving the stick there. Is it the wand or whatever they call it? And then, pa, 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 pa. And I said, oh my God, the wily crocodiles of imperialism, their collaborators and tribal chauvinists were patiently waiting as they grinned at the naivety of the euphoric Africans. This reminds me of what Du Bois also said with regard to the Black construction when he wrote in 1935. He says, the slave went free, stood a brief moment in the sun, then moved back again towards slavery. We woke up and fell into a coma the following day. So this is the thing. Now, if you look at the Ghanaian press, which I avoid, but because of this particular paper or this particular discussion, I went into Ghana Web. Now ask yourself this question. Which society would have 6-year-old boys, 9-year-old boys, 16-year-old boys, and so on, committing suicide? Look at the rate of suicides going on in Ghana. And we've left them. We are busy NPPing and what's the name of the other party? NDCing. We are busy liberal Democrats and social democrats. The young, as young as 6. How can you commit suicide? Google suicides in Ghana. You know, go on Ghana Web and you'll be amazed. And you'll sit down and ponder. That is the future. Quite recently in Kaswa, for example, soldiers were beaten. We haven't heard anything about it again. Some guys went to the north, some policemen went to the north, 3 of them to arrest. They claim a thief, and the village turned on him. Either yesterday or the day before yesterday, this hasn't come out in the press. One area were outdooring their chief. Some guys went to the house in which the chief was in, fired guns, boom, I think Gomafete, fired guns, boom, 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 boom. Called the chief being outdoored and his people, beat them up, tortured them, and deposited them at police stations. Phone calls had to be made. What on earth would make people catch somebody who wants to be the servant of the people, presumably a member of parliament, and kill him? Why are we having vigilantes in the country? They are vigilantes, what? Ideological vigilantes, that we go in for muscle building in order to keep liberal democracy or social democracy? Nigeria had this march, and one of the things that, I mean, anytime that I think about it, I get sick. The guns were turned on the very people they were supposed to protect and killed some of them. The Ghanaian guns, who are they pointed against, or who are they pointed at? These are the things that should reflect in your minds when you are thinking deeply and trying to reclaim the thinking systems that we appear to have left behind. Peter Eke brought out a beautiful paper as far back as 1976. It's been lying fallow. The paper is to do with the 2 systems, the indigenous systems and the systems of state, which are foreign. The indigenous systems are the ones you find people like me belong to. As soon as you go into oppression, you go into the systems of state, the ones bequeathed through colonialism. So he has this, the 2 publics, the 2 Africas. Which Africa are you going to discuss with regard to social justice, with regards to responsibility? And that is what My Africa is about, with regards to duty. And that's what My Africa is about, with regard to obligations. My Africa is about Ubuntu. My Africa is about service. We don't even have the word to rule in my language. A chief serves. And now awesome no man. To some is to have a sacred thing that you serve, you virtually worship in one way. It doesn't sit on it. My society has never passed through feudal systems, which are vertical. My system has been equalitarian. And you cannot have social justice in vertical societies. Now we are busy following Europe. They have their what? Upper class, middle class. What's the name of the other class? Lower class, and probably those of us from the continent who are underclass. And so we steal in order to join the European middle class or something. I mean, it's absurd. So I know there's a lot that I could go on and on and on and on about, but this is just to throw a little bit of meat, you know, about what we are about ourselves. So whose consciousness are we bringing to social justice? Whose consciousness are we bringing to the idea of society and the idea of justice and marrying the two, the power constructs? Somebody, I think Jacob Caruthers, talked about the maroon intellectuals. I'm not very sure. I think I belong to that particular class of thinkers. You know, that we need to look at Africa. We need to look at things like social justice. We can't even unite. We are so enamored and attracted to these definitions and boundaries created for us by Europe. Did we create it? Probably Ghana was lucky, just like Tanzania was to do later on, adding Zanzibar. We brought in part of the other. And now look at us. If you read chapter 6 of our constitution, one of the most salient part of the constitution, we leave it. We don't discuss it. But you could see that there's an afterthought within that third by those who framed the present constitution that there's a need to return, to have something of inclusiveness, to have participation. To what value system guides us? Whose value system? You all saw America, the comedy of America, where liars are held up. 50% of our people vote for liars. My society, indigenous society, is about truth. Are we going to lie to our people in order to be able to control the power construct? Are we going to admire liars? What value system are we holding? Whose value system are we projecting? That will determine the kind of social justice that we have. You don't need to even have the word social justice. Just as the British didn't have rights, so in their laws, they have the Bill of Rights. We didn't need it. The rights were already within the society. They had to beg somebody for rights. Why should I go and bring their rights from their feudal legal system and then push it into my society? Rights of what? Rights are embedded within my society, within my culture. How can I have Ubuntu and then come and talk about individual rights? It's our rights. I am you, you are me. Have we defined our wealth? So what you've put out here towards our election period, which I wish had come a day after we had our elections, is the fact that these are the things, the challenge you and I have to be engrossed in. We have to remove this illusion of inclusion, as Farrakhan would say, and look at how we want to be. We can only have social justice by being Africans. Unless the African personality becomes ascendant, will always be the footnote of somebody else's culture. And as Trump would tell you who you are, and I don't, as a chief, let me be a chief small here. I can't tell you what Trump said about you. You know it better, and yet you are enamored with him, or some of you are enamored with him in that culture. The KKK is there. You all know it. So we are in trouble. 45% of Ghanaians. Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
You're here, okay. If you go and read the report, even though I worry about it from time to time, 45% of Ghanaians are supposed to be way below the poverty line. 45%. I live in my society. People live on 100 cedis a month. And sometimes I look at them. How do they survive? And one way or the other, being a chief means being their father. Whatever I earn anywhere comes into my hand anywhere, I have to use it to support them. Should I be a thief? So these are read it, it's there. Even though whoever devised the statistics, I don't know. But these are the things you need to look at. So you have a long way to go. And I quite remember that I wrote somewhere that we're like women who love our rapists. And then we just love the filter seed he deposits in us. And we caress those seeds lovingly. That is Africa for you. That is Ghana for you. We don't even understand what is meant by indigenous dependence. And once you keep on depending on outside foreign ideas, believe you me, you will never be able to either transplant or grow your own ideas and your own ideas on social justice. I think I've said enough, Lady Phyllis. I could go on and on, but let's get back to the rest of the people and discuss this. I hope I've said enough nonsense for this morning, for this afternoon. So forgive me. Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much, Nana. This has definitely been an enlightening, thought-provoking presentation. It has set a context I'm sure many of us were not thinking of in terms of the history of what we call, what we have termed social justice, and where it came from and where we are going, where we need to go, and so on. So I'm going to open up for questions or any other comments and everybody's reflection on what we have just been enjoying from Nana, and take it from there. So do we have the questions queued? Are there questions at the moment?
Yes, Brother Kwesi has his hand up.
Go ahead, Brother Kwesi.
Okay, thank you very much for your impassionate speech. Okay, and I really enjoyed it. I almost shed a little tears. But my very first question and concern, not even a question, to you as Nana and our Mahine of Esikado. Right now, I see our government, even after independence, as two pillars. Okay, we have the traditional system, which is led by the chiefs, and then the government, which is led by the people or elected officials. Okay, when we talk about social justice, we're talking about providing the basic needs of life for people, for the people of a country or a society. Now, the role of the chiefs has been diminished to the point where I think only the government makes decisions like signing contracts with foreign companies to mine our mineral resources and anything that in the country that we think we can make money off. What role does the National House of Chiefs play in such contract negotiations? Does the government consult the chiefs before they sign these contracts, or they do it arbitrarily because they are the government of the country? I need a little explanation, and maybe you can share that with us. What role do you play, the National House of Chiefs? You know, I see that you've been diminished to a point where, as you said, some people even went to a chief's place and beat him up without the government saying anything, or maybe something. But just tell us a little, or give us a little explanation about the role of chiefs in our system today in relations to our resources. Because if we're going to take care of social justice, we need to take care of our resources. And the chiefs are being the custodians of our resources and everything. So if you can share a little information to us about that, you know, I will appreciate, or we will appreciate.
Okay, thank you very much. Nana, go ahead.
Okay, Brother Kwesi.
Yes.
And I use the word brother deliberately. You know?
Okay.
A lot of us, I'm working on a manuscript right now. And so coming into this social justice thing, let me tell you, has been a diversion. And how to get myself back into the mood for that manuscript. It will take me some time. I've seen Thad is there, so he understands what I've been by the channel I was seeing before Phyllis dragged me into this particular thing. But the manuscript I'm working on is called A Reflection of an Awesome Responsibility. Chieftaincy, the Akan chieftaincy. There's a reason why I have that title. I wish I could have said chieftaincy in Ghana, but since I understand the Akan chieftaincy better, I don't want to be my pants pulled down for somebody to look at my bottom and say, oh, but we are not like that. So I hold on to that. Secondly, you're not thinking about the devastation colonialism did to chieftaincy. You see, you talk about chiefs as if this is how we are. This is not how we are, and this is not how we were. Chiefs were not to be seen. They never hardly appeared in public. The word Nana is a title that only God had. Nana Yami, Nana Yankupon, Kasapreku, Otumfu, Osadiayo. See, we don't think about all these things. And we're not even thinking about the spiritual. I said this is the unseen that manifests the thoughts, that brings out the thoughts, that manifests in society. These are Asafo, Asafuhin, Asafu is the public, and so on and so forth. So to go into that institution and to talk about it, unfortunately, it's now you are talking about me as an individual. The chief is the community, and the community is the chief. I can go on and on. But unfortunately, now you've isolated us, just like the British did. And they were in pursuit of it, to divorce the chiefs from the people, give them a particular class, just like the keys of the Achimota school, black and white, right? Black people are hewers of wood and drawers of water. White people should stay in there. If you come to Iskadu here, and I've seen Thad is on. His father was with my late uncle fighting apartheid in Sekendi. That was the system being put in place. And that is why they had to imprison the chief who would not collaborate, because they didn't even understand the whole idea of colonialism and what was being put in place. There's a chief I talk about in Kenya a lot. He's called Wayaki Wahenga, who was murdered by the British. And the way they murdered him, anytime I read Wayaki's story, I shed tears. Well, I do it privately, I don't do it publicly. How they turned him upside down against everything that he stood, and using British law in order to kill him. If I'm Kikuyu, and that is the law used against me, I will never be a lawyer in that sense. I'll be a lawyer to fight that system. When my uncle was being imprisoned, they offered, we gave the lawyer 200 pounds in 1950. During the course of his trial, because they said, look, come, these are stories people don't know. The British told him, look, support us. And you will find you £5, release you, and give you a lot of wealth to be a big chief in the Gold Coast. He refused. That was the chief who had the consciousness. And unfortunately, because of that, I'm sure that Thad's father must have told him a lot. Because of that, he was punished, criminally punished. They took him out of police cells at 11 p.m. and beat him till 4 a.m. He was finally sentenced. Have you heard that story anywhere?
No.
So this is the challenge that we have. Don't think that chieftaincy is what it was supposed to be. Chieftaincy is the people. The people are the chief. Unfortunately, there's a dichotomy. But in your head, within you, psychologically, you know that your chief is you and you are the chief. So what do you and I do as a people to fight this system of exploitation that we have put in place and we think and call it democracy? I used to be a member of the House of Chiefs. This year, I decided that, well, let me not go into my past, but I just decided that I don't want to be a member again, etc. Let somebody else go and so on and so forth, because I needed time to think and put things down. I think that the manuscript I'm developing is much better than, at the moment, than going to the National House of Chiefs. Go and pick up their records of their meetings and ask yourself, what do they discuss of national importance? It's just like the Hansard. You can't believe Ghanaian lawyers. I have so many stories within me that if I start, I wouldn't stop. Kwesiama told me a story when my predecessor died. What Kwesiama told me is that I don't know my uncle. Then he told me this story, and I leave it for you as an educated Ghanaian. And Kwesiama said, when he went to England, he says those days it was as if once you go to England and you went to read, you need to create time to go to Oxford to visit Nana. So he went to visit Nana. In the discussion, Nana asked him, why did you come here to read? Then Kwesiama said, I came to read law. He says, Nana went back and asked him, law for what? Ghana has lawyers. I laughed because I knew that was Nana. But it took me about 3-4 years to understand the meaning of Ghana has lawyers. Who are you educating yourself for?
Okay.
So he was telling Kwesi Ama, Ghana, your law, that your education is supposed to enhance your society, not you. You are part of that society. Why do you go to school? For yourself, why should your village pay your school fees? Sentence you got, we are still doing it. Pay your school fees, do all these things, and then you get to a position to cheat the very people who gave you that education, then it's the wrong education. What did Malcolm say? You send your child to your enemies to educate, and they come back as enemies of the system. Who is your education for? You go and read medicine. They pay for you, they give you a scholarship from the farm and so on. And you come back and you are a doctor of what? For whom? You make money of the very people who did this to you. So please, consciousness. It has to be turned around so that we realize who we are. The chiefs today, I would say, and I don't want to be quoted, we are still living in the colonial system, right? So instead of pushing people, that is, I don't know if I've said it properly, but it's the challenge you have, I have. Why, and it goes into the parliamentarians. Why do you go and stand on the street side, shout for people to go and buy, what's the name of those cars they're riding? Land Cruisers, when your potholes have not been repaired and you wave them, you are happy. Something is not right. So even with chieftaincy, something is not right. We need to go back to our original thinking. And that's the best that I can say for now, Brother Kwesi.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Brother Nicholas. Brother Nicholas has his hand up also. So he's next, then Brother Serum, and then Brother Furi also has a hand up. So Brother Nicholas.
Yes, let me first thank Nana for an illuminating overview. I think that the issues that Nana has raised are very important as we reflect critically on the way forward in the process of developing a political program for the PAG. When the issue of social justice came up, I was particularly excited, and I'm pleased that many members of the social justice movement are here. I was excited because maybe Ted may remember that in one of our informal conversations, we pointed out that going forward, we need to be very strategic about how we go about constructing, developing, growing the PAG. When we decided to call ourselves social justice movements, the younger ones may not have been told that one of the things that stood up for me was 1975, my first introduction, the Communist Manifesto. The history of all hitherto existing societies is the history of class struggle. Essentially, what I took away from what Nana was trying to say was the difficulty of defining precisely what you mean. But that is also the beauty of it, because it allows you to define as a process, not as a specific goal. What do I mean? I recall talking to one of our younger members of the social justice movement who is involved in development work. And I said, listen, the struggle for social justice everywhere around you. You just need to construct and decide for yourself in whose interest are you acting, and go about mobilizing and organizing to achieve those objectives. The person knows whom I'm talking about. It was about teenage girls in the northern part of Ghana having to attend school without the necessary parts, etc., etc. But all over in the history of our country, it has been a struggle for justice of one form or the other. As we go forward, I think that the PAG has to begin to work out post-elections. How is it going to go about organizing at constituency level, at community level, critical issues of justice that need to be fought for, and use that as an anchor of mobilizing and gaining legitimacy among the people. The experience coming out from America, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement and the elections, shows that, look, you can be in the media, you can be in the air, but you have to be on ground, you have to talk to people, you have to appeal to their interests. And I think that going forward, we need to spend a bit more time on unpack critically what is it that we are going to do as part of our political program to ensure that PAG has legitimacy, represents a clear section of Ghanaian society, the majority that we stand for, and that we can work with them to achieve the things that they want to achieve for themselves. Thank you very much.
Good comment. I like that too.
I think Brother Serum is next. Then
for this hand is up.
Yeah, Brother Serum was up before Ofori, so Brother Serum can go, and then Brother Ofori next.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. For me, as a young man, it's a great honor to be part of this lecture, and I salute Nana for that. I must say that from everything Nana said, it is clear that it will only take a revolution for things to change. It's not getting any better, and for our young people, we are living in hopelessness. I mean, the passage of the Plant Breeders Act that allowed GMO to be in Ghana, it shows that it's never going to get any better. We've been fighting this for the past 7 years, went for demonstrations, went to parliament and all that, but still been passed anyway. So I must say, Nana, what do we do? What is the way forward? Shouldn't the likes of you team up with other great minds, come up with a plan for a revolution, so that it will not just be that we are all singing revolution, yet we know what the problem is. So, but what about solution? How do we design? We want a plan, Nana. We look forward to getting a plan. With the youth, we don't have anything to lose. We can go out there and demonstrate over and over, but we just be killed like they're killing people in Nigeria. So we want a plan. We want to see a plan that we can act on, so that can give us a hope. Otherwise, for now, we're just living in hopelessness. And once again, thank you for the beautiful speech. Thank you.
Who is this young man who just spoke?
My name is Serum.
Serum.
Yes. I've been listening to you for
live in Ghana?
Years now, and yes, I am.
Yeah, okay. You take my email address and we'll find a way of meeting, please, okay? But you used words that I
Yeah, Serum lives in Ghana, in Accra.
Yeah.
Nana?
Okay. Yeah, let's just finish with him because he's despondent. He's a bit depressed. He was using the word like words like hopelessness and have hope. Then what about people like me? Fanon said that every generation must find its own course.
Yes.
But we don't read them today.
Yes.
When my late uncle them, together with Tad's father, were fighting for the release of the 6 men who had been detained. One of them was 16 years old. My uncle was put in prison at the age of 31. Anthony Wood was in prison at the age of 23. So you were just not, see, the Nigerian thing, I was happy and sad at the same time. It had only one objective, to end SARS. But if they wanted a real revolution, if they wanted real change, they would have thought, just like you should do, that what should we put into place? If you haven't thought about what to put in place, don't start. What do we put in place? And that is the discussion that must go on with you now. What do we put in place if we get rid of this thing that is there already? So that is the challenge for the youth. Don't give up. You cannot let hope die. You can't afford to. I owe it to you, you owe it to those coming after you. So please, let's get in touch. And with you, much as I try to avoid certain discourses as much as possible, with you, I'll come out and then we can generate, some ideas. I'm virtually 70. I'm on the way out. You're a very young man from what I see. And you're talking about hopelessness? Don't. The future. Go and look at when the one who spoke before you was talking about class struggle and so on and so forth in 75. This was discussed as far back as the, late 50s. Do we have classes in Africa? Of course, for the European societies to work, we need to put classes into place so that then we can do the class struggle. But going to the indigenous society, who am I a chief? Where is my wealth? What wealth do I have? Have I defined wealth from the indigenous African point of view? We have gone into land acquisition within the European frame. And I always tell myself that let Bill Gates come with his money and buy the whole country. You know, we can only think as far back as 1900, Sopho Atahoma was saying to the people at that time that we have ceased to be a thinking nation. Yeah. Let's prove him wrong. The only time that we thought we had an upheaval, and that upheaval took us to 1957. That is the only time we thought. Then we went into the coma. Let me tell you, even the joke. One chief, one of the greatest chiefs that we've had in Ghana, Prempeh, conferred the title of Sajifo on Kwame Nkrumah. When he was removed, the same stool, not the same person, conferred the title of Ketechi on the one who removed Kwame Nkrumah. I mean, it tells you about our ups and downs.
Irony of irony, chiefs.
So this is the fun. But in that fun of learning from our heritage, we need to take the lessons. And Seram, please, don't, please. I take God beg you. The word hopelessness should never fail coming to your mouth. There's always hope whilst you're young and you have life. Thanks.
Okay, and next.
Brother Free was next.
Sorry, I've been on another program all day, so I was late. But I wanted to make a comment on Kofi's thing on what he said on resources. When we started the exploration program in Tano, the Tekinta Igbazu area, we had to go, and at every village or town, we had to go to the chief for permission first. The law is there. At Igbazu, between Igbazu and Tekinta, there was a grove, a traditional grove, sacred grove. We were told that we couldn't go there. None of us should enter. So we did our exploration around it. There were a few places like that. So technically, the chiefs have the power to allow or disallow exploration, some of these things that are going on. I did apart from the oil exploration, I did quite a bit of environmental exploration in most parts of Ghana, apart from the 3 northern regions at the time. And we won, at that time, this was back in 1999, 97, 98. Galamsey was just about beginning. We wrote a very detailed report and warned that unless it was stopped, in some areas, they couldn't, within a short time, they couldn't even grow cassava or corn because everywhere they dug, it became flooded. And plus the fact that they were spilling mercury and arsenic all over the place. We detected arsenic from the Oti River all the way along the Pra River to the sea. The chiefs, unfortunately, Nana, part of it has been, I think, has been the fault of the chiefs. I come from a rough family, so I know a bit of it. In about 1973, Nana Koku-Boateng of Cambodia announced that Acheampong should rule for 20 years, suddenly. And almost every chief in Ghana started supporting that idea that Acheampong should rule for 20 years. The constitution, the second Republican constitution, I think put the chiefs in a certain honorable position to avoid being contaminated by politics. But before we realized, in Acheampong's Rawlings's regime, Nana Akufo-Addo took a political position in the government. And since then, unfortunately, our chiefs have been, that has been the position. I think that the Constitution reserves a position for chiefs, but unfortunately, like now with the elections coming, chiefs are saying, vote for this person, vote for that person. Technically, that is not right, and that has been part of our problem as a nation.
Thank you.
I think I need to say something to Brother Ofori. Are you in Ghana?
No, I'm in the UK, sorry.
Oh, I wish you were here.
I live just northeast of
would have been
London. I
nice,
come home
but-
every year, actually.
No, it's okay. For example, me, I don't use the word royal with respect to myself. And I have my reasons. It's a feudal word made to make certain forms of distinctions. You see, these are the way white supremacy and its forms of thought have gotten into us, that sometimes we are not even aware. And you use the word, you would never hear me say, I'm royal. Royal, say it infante or chi, miadishi. It means citizen. That is a citizen of, what's the name of the place? Elmina. Phyllis is a citizen of Busia. Or a dishi of Busia.
Yes.
You are a dishi of Koforidua. But by so doing, if you come and live in Escado for a long time, you'll be a dishi of Escado. See, these are the things that there are, and tells you about how we borrow definition. But getting back to it, you see, my brother Ofori, you are looking at an environment from whose eyes? This is the environment, the trees, the leaves, and so on, that kept our ancestors alive.
Yes.
Right? It wasn't the chief who went and said, this is a sacred place. It was a community using its sacred signs. We talk about African spirituality and push it aside and talk about Christianity. No. These are sacred sciences.
Yes.
Passed on from generation to generation. So it wasn't the chief. How can the chief say, go into that grove or don't go? But something has happened to chieftaincy. The same disease that affected the educated African, or better still, the miseducated African.
Yes.
And the chief too has to survive. So I was laughing. If the chief has to say that, oh, support this man, when he gets into office, perhaps I want a car, you give me a car. He give me a certain privileged position. So it's not that. We do not even understand our own institutions.
Mm.
We divorce ourselves even from chieftaincy. The chief cannot make a decision without his community.
Exactly.
The Beisan Infante means Ebusia Esan, the
Yes.
7 heads, the 7 Ebusia, which also form the Amensan, the public.
Yes.
So we forget these things, that the chief does not even talk. He only express the will of his people. So I think that is, in Escado here, I have NDC people here, I have MPP people here. Who am I going to say that you should vote for? So in my wisdom, I keep quiet.
Yes.
If I take the risk of supporting one, you find that the next time my stool is in the Atlantic. So, so my brother, it's our education. We come in with a certain form of knowledge, go into our indigenous community, instead of interacting and then bringing this up. Who doesn't know that Galamsey is bad? I live close to the Pra.
Yes.
I live close to Anankwan. We don't even have water in Sekeni Takradi again because it is being rationed.
Yes.
But do we think about it? Is that our survival? Do we see our children going to enslave themselves in England and the Americas as the path? Once you leave, I'm sorry to say, the way they go, they are slaves. But we've pushed them out. What have you and I offered them? So the challenge belongs to both of us.
Yes.
Your Galamsey should not have been for the government, should have been for us, all of us. And once we are properly educated, we know that our environment sustains us. We then have to find ways and means of controlling our environment. Who defined the wood as timber and came and chopped them down and gave you money for chopping your pharmacopoeia down? We've done it, and we are still doing it.
Yes.
Who benefits from it? All the logs that we've chopped, the hardwood and so on. We are still chopping rosewood. In whose interest?
Yeah.
Brother Eugene, again, Brother Eugene had to sign up, and then after that, Brother Yen. So, Brother Eugene, go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank Nana for this speech, and I already indicated that it made me froze and numb physically, but intellectually hopeful. And this would feed our minds so that we'll be able to come up with ideas for the future. And I'm speaking specifically to the youth, or the younger ones, especially Sharon. But now the concern is that, let me just say this. In 1975, my dad went to Leeds University in London for his education. And they asked him, why did you come back home to Ghana? He said, why should I live in the white man's country? I did not understand it by then. Currently, I feel guilty that I'm here in the US teaching, but here's the hope that you've given me, Nana. I have always told the American people that America doesn't need me, but Ghana needs me, and I plan to go back home. But I want to be equipped with what I've come here to pursue, and then I'll make it home. Now, let me make my point. The youth want to revolutionize, but here's the fear. For instance, you have a young man who did the investigative journalism, just shot and killed for no reason. There's no protection. What the system currently does not give prudence to genuine and real protesters because we are not protected. And again, Brother Tampore said, what can we do? We need a structure, we need a way, we need guidance. And I want to plead, Nana, this is what I would plead. We need more of what you are writing out there for the youth to be able to read and understand. I think I have learned a lot from you that I read from a Dubois Haynes history book that I took for my history classes in Ghana. That said, what is the way? I'm working with Brother Dan and some other people to come up, and actually you would be the guide so that we can help in terms of the heritage group that we want to help propagate the ideals and principles of PAC. So we want more of your works. Those of you who have this knowledge, including Brother Ofori and the rest, we need sample pamphlets like the axioms of Kwame Nkrumah, things like that, so we can give them out. Thank you.
Brother Eugene.
Just a little bit of contributions, we're grateful for what Nana has done, but sometimes you ask yourself, why do people vote, or how do people act as they do? Currently in Ghana, you can hardly, like Nana was saying, you can hardly do anything. It's all about NDC MPP. And everybody have seen what these two political parties have done. And that is the main essence. And I'm talking about to people like Sharon, the main essence of the social justice movement and the main essence of CNNA and all the associated groups that have formed the PAG. The idea is to bring like-minded people together with clear ideas. And that is the main reason of these forums, to find common ground so that we can move ahead. But in Ghana, what is happening is that if you listen to the radio and you listen to the TV, you think there's going to be a revolution the following day. So many people are so critical of this government, also of the NDC. It's now that there is the election that you are not hearing that much. But if you see before the tension, the criticism against the regime in Accra here, you wonder why is it that we don't have social justice in Ghana today. But the point I'm trying to say is that a lot of the middle class that are very angry with the system. Like they use it as a kind of, I don't know whether it's like some kind of psychotherapy. You know, they feel so very bad about the system that they just go to the radio stations, the TV stations to talk about it. Call a meeting, and then you see the number of people who will come around. In Bolga, like this, we have been involved in the justice movement and up in the north, trying to get people. I personally go around to the villages, sometimes the villages, talking to people, you know, getting them, call a meeting. And sometimes you have about 5, 6, 10, you know, coming for meetings. You know, and it is the same people that that complain. I know it takes time. I remember sometimes I'm not, then when we come around, people are so angry and others. And I remember, and I think Nicholas is still, he was trying to go out. If he's still here, he will confirm. When we were in the university during the anti-union government struggles in the University of Ghana and all over the universities across Ghana, very many. In Legon, were even up to 10. You know, but we were consistent. And when the opportunity came, we were shocked about the response. I remember that in Ghana, in the University of Ghana, somebody took a champion's picture when he was in that secretariat school or something like that, and pasted it on the Legon Hall and notice board. And the comments that it drew, that even created revolution. So what I'm trying to say to people like Sarah and the young people is that, you see, let's be consistent, let's be organized, let's get we need quality, even though we need the quantity, we need quality, and the situation will change. I am telling you, and I'm not a prophet, I'm not like those priests who are prophets, but I know that after this election in January, we are bound to have a lot of problems. Unions are going to demonstrate, they are going to, because whichever government that wins, what are they going to do with the economic system? They are going to ask for loans, they get the $3 billion loan, and 90 or 95% is going to service the debt. So what I'm trying to say, let's be consistent, let's try and then go for meetings. Let's organize in the unions. I know the unions are completely controlled by the establishment, but still, there are elements that let's work in the unions, for trade unions, other organizations, and move the struggle forward. It shouldn't just be discussions at TV, radio stations. When we go to radio stations and TV stations, we talk, we are happy. You know, we go and sleep well, oh, as I gave it to them. That is not the issue. The issue is how we can organize, you know, to move the struggle ahead.
Dara, you're muted.
Please mute.
Oku's hand is up here. Kwame Oku's hand is up, please. Okulu, go ahead, unmute.
Okay. Can you unmute?
No, it looks like you're muted.
I've done it. I think in the beginning, part of this discussion, thank goodness.
Want to make some remarks or what?
Yeah, I'm just going to make a remark.
Because that's all. Okay, Eugene spoke, and it was quite interesting. Eugene, you're fortunate you're in America. And the reason why I say this is that there's a whole, you see, after the overthrow of Nkrumah, a lot of African-centered thoughts moved into the Americas. You have somebody like John Henry Clark, Notes of an African World Revolution. Go and pick it up and study it. And you'll be amazed about what is in there. You know, it will give you food for, further to think about. I mentioned quite a number of people, Caruthers and so on and so forth. Right now, you have people who have lived here. Back in America, they've aged. Professor Abraham is in America. Kwesi Redu is in America. A whole lot of people left. And now there's a core of Black African-centered thoughts emanating. Pick up Urugu by Marimba Ani. I wrote a book, a very humble book, unfortunately 900 pages or so. Do you know the people who buy it? The African Americans. I wrote it with Ghana as a case study for the rest of Africa. Professor Lumumba got one, PLO Lumumba got one, and he's been talking about it. How many Ghanaians are? I don't even have a copy. I get a copy and somebody comes and takes it away. I hear there are copies in Legon, so I'm going to buy one for myself. But it's because I lived here and then I could see the story of slaves and so on and so forth. Your father was right when he came back to Ghana to work. Life must have a meaning. What meaning does your life have at the moment? You want to live as a white man?
No.
You want to live as an African? Then come to Africa, but don't come to Africa as a white man coming to Africa. Come to Africa as an African and live like an African. Eugene, it starts with changing your name, Eugene.
Well, if you like to know, I asked my grandmother my local name, and they couldn't tell me. They had forgotten.
No, don't worry, don't worry. I'm just teasing you. But this is part of the split consciousness or the double identity that Du Bois spoke about as far back as 1900. And we go through this. When you were my mind went to Bob Marley's song, "How long shall they kill our prophets whilst we stand aside and look?" Who are the they who kill our prophets? Who are these prophets? What has happened to us that we stand aside and look? And then sometimes you go into consolation philosophy. Said, well, maybe it's written in the book. Sometimes. But that is not enough. Come, talk to people. Security of people, as somebody will say, somebody was killed. Of course. When my book came out, Leonard Jeffries called me in the night, says, Nana, don't come to America again. I've been to America. I'm just careful. If I die, I want my life to have a meaning. Malcolm knew he was going to die. Nkrumah knew they wanted to kill him and even poison him. After going on, how many attempts were made? Go and ask the people who wanted to kill Nkrumah. Ask them why they wanted to kill him. Believe you me, till tomorrow, wake up America, ask him, is it America? What's the name of the guy who shot him? Won't be able to tell you why he wanted Nkrumah shot. Amatewi.
Yeah.
Amatefi.
Seven attempts. And when he was in Guinea, there was eventually ended up with this being poisoned. When the Russians and so on wanted him to come back, one of the nicest things that I've learned, he's not going to come to power at the expense of any Ghanaian life. So Eugene, you have to pick up a certain attitude of giving meaning to your life. I'm sure that one of Angelo once, and some of you who are Christians may not like what I'm going to say. And I said, oh, Jesus sacrificed his life for me. And he says, no, I should look at it from another perception, that Jesus died for the world he wanted to live in. So if I want yellow paint and start painting the world yellow, you know, that is the challenge that we have. Which world do you want to live in? Be prepared to die for the world you wanted to live in, and that makes your life worthwhile. But if you want your ham, you can't have your cake and eat it. If you want your ham and you want your thing and sit down and become what? Wear your bow ties and think that you are doing, changing your society. No, 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 no. You're setting a bad example for the society. And the titles we have, excellencies, majesties, what? And they take you where? So you need to think deeply. When you come home, and I hope you will come home, Ashola. I've seen you thrown your hands up like that and it's frozen, but it will unfreeze when you come.
Thank you.
Phyllis, haven't I spoken enough?
Well, we have, do we have anyone else?
Yes, Brother Kwame Uklu has a question. After that, I also have a question.
Mine is not a
Bear
question.
with us a few more minutes.
Yeah, mine is not a question, it's a comment. I'm very grateful I know Nana, he spoke in Ghana where I took part in that debate before, and I have love and appreciation for him historically. Nana's position is a challenge. I always, because currently, or even in the past, after Nkrumah, there have been series of struggles for social justice, but they were in pockets, very, very small ones, and they are crushed. Of course, they will be crushed. But I think I'm going to go with Nicholas Atambugri's call for organization. This group, we need to organize and take these discussions seriously, because there is no place than home. I am coming home next year, December as well. Why? Because I'm an African, I'm a Ghanaian. I want to be home. And I'm very grateful that Nana has thrown up some challenges this afternoon, because I'm in London. Some of you are far away in the morning. Let's look at, and I'm also very grateful that this topic has been split into 3, because it's an important topic. It is life. The topic we're discussing is life itself. So I'm going to sit on my bed this night and look at the thoughts Nana has provoked this evening to me. A lot of us have struggled in the past, and there is a way that we can live those struggles through educating the young ones in Ghana to understand why there is the need. There is the need. I sit here, and sometimes what I see on social media in Ghana, where we have pastors who call themselves semi-gods and the kind of things they do, and it's accepted in our communities. You know, recently I had a video of a pastor shaving women in his church, and it became acceptable. You know, he's abusing women. You know, but look, I'm very grateful to Nana Nkatia, and some of you should live beyond 100 years so that your ideas, you can implant it like a seed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
We are coming to, yes, go ahead.
All right. So Nana, thank you very much. Just so Brother Eugene, you know, is just so you know, I've reached out to Nana already about his ideas for the Heritage Club. So that's still in works. Nana and I have been in contact on as far as how the structure of the Heritage Club. So that's that. But one thing that Nana said that is really, you know, well, everything pretty much stuck to me. But the idea of us still operating under these systems that were set up not for our benefit, but for the benefit of the oppressors. At a certain point, if we're going to move forward, we have to throw those systems away. And if we throw them away, we have to plan. Okay, we have to go back, look at our history, look at our culture, and set up our indigenous system and set them in place so that when we throw these away, we're not walking blind. Nothing will please the oppressors, or people who want us to fail. Nothing will please them more than for us to see us wandering around not knowing what to do. But at a certain point, we have to stop, still operating under these systems. So as part of PAG, I think we need to take it upon ourselves that let's start, looking at our history. What systems, our indigenous systems, are going to work for us? And then as part of it is to transition as we go through this, and hopefully when we come to quote unquote power, we're able to start the transition into an organized system that's based on our indigenous system that will work for us. Because everything right now, it looks like we're planning on, working within the existing structure, which is not ours. And if we continue that way, we'll be doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Thank you.
Okay.
Phyllis.
Yes.
Phyllis.
I'm here. Nana,
Can I make a last comment about the gentleman and what he just said? It's so profound. But one of the things that we have, and in fact, Henry Clark has it, and Jeffries has elaborated on it. There are three aspects of existence. One is your space, your ecology, from which you exist, you make your living on. The other one is how do you manage that space? And that management is the politics. Now, what drives the politics? And that is the psychology. It's your culture. If you go and use somebody else's culture to drive the ecology of your space or manage it, your ecology will work in the interest of the psychology of the system. So this is what you were saying, that unless we go within, use our own heritage, what we inherited from our ancestors. But unfortunately, our education, as Chinwezu would say, they tell you to cut your feet off, your traditional feet and so on, and then after that, they ask you to run. Until we recognize that and go into our own indigenous space, seek our own indigenous philosophies, which definitely the system outside is going to fight you. How many of us have tried to get PhDs, and whenever you try to write or do something, they tell you that you have to get an outside source? How many, as in our friend Dedempo, how many articles have you tried to write and they'll tell you that you must be international? International means what? You know, this is the challenge, that even in our universities, we are still looking at ivory towers, not ebony towers.
How are you?
Hold on.
Nana.
Please,
Hold on.
Yeah, hello.
No, I think it might be your Ethiopian friend. There's a lady on here.
Oh, okay, Sanai, I'm making a remark. Yes, after you can speak to the rest, okay?
Thank you, sir.
This very interested.
Thank you, sir.
Things that we have. In Ethiopia, literature, a lot of indigenous literature, and yet those who had gone to the West to be educated came and then turning Ethiopia upside down with the literature that they had gone to learn. And that is part of the turbulence that has been going on for quite a while. The native colonizers, somebody's written a book about it, very interesting. So the challenge is what mindset, whose mindset? Are we, whose cosmology, whose values? Whose value system? One and a bosom, na yersum one. Abazin also yanubwa yersum. That's the challenge. And so I agree with you, but then talking about communication. Fortunately today, the internet discovered by an African, I don't even call him Nigerian, by an African, all kinds of things. Why don't we use it to communicate more? Do we have to go and sit on that? There's podcasts, even me, a chief, old man like me, you know, podcast and all these things. Let's do it to influence people, social media. We don't need to go and sit on GTV and UTV and so on. But what we must, propagate is the truth. The African system is about truth, the truth of the people and the truth of the community. That is what should be our objective, our mission, to propagate the truth about our identity and our purpose in this world, and to get ourselves to somebody else's value system. If you use somebody else's point of view, would always be beneath, we will never recover our dignity of who we are. So that is it. Phyllis Madasiai, okay. Tonight we'll talk again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Yes, thank you for coming. If you have, I believe you have a few words you want to address the group, or do you have questions or a remark to make? If you do, go ahead. Hello.
You're talking to iPhone. Are you talking the woman from?
Yes, I was. Oh, maybe she's not muted. She wasn't.
See, it's the iPhone.
Did you want to say something? Yes.
Do you want to say something to us?
Oh, I'm very honored and very happy that you invited me to join this platform, and it's a very good discussion, which I want to hear more from Nana and you elders, so I can understand more. But my vision is to bring Africa together as natural, because Natural is traditional leaders, network of traditional leaders international. So we can bring it in one umbrella. So we can use our own resources and our people because it's brain drain, as Nana said. We're not using our people. We've been eaten alive. So that's what I just want to say for now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It's unfortunate that you have joined us at the tail end of the session, but we'll definitely connect with you and continue the discussion. So thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
What's your name again? What's your name again?
At the chat area.
Hold on.
I was asking, what's your name again?
My name is Sanai Dimitri.
Okay. All right.
Sanai
Nice to meet you.
Dimitri.
Yeah,
Nice
all right.
to
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, you was who was it that was speaking? All right. I think we're going to wrap this session up, and I think everybody would agree with me that this has been a very, very enlightening and thought-provoking presentation. Nana, we thank you so much for first agreeing to come and also giving us such a lot of information, deep thought information to unpack, and help us. Basically, it's going to give us a way forward. I think a lot of people have already spoken to the fact that it's brought a lot of thought-provoking concepts, or the whole historical context of what you spoke about. And I also want to address the youth that joined us today. And Nana spoke, his presentation basically spoke about to achieve true social justice, we'll need a revolution. And we're all talking about this revolution and where to go. And let me just say this. There's a quote that Nelson Mandela said, and it says, "Every now and then, a generation is called upon to be great. You can be the great generation." So I think it's time for us to not just look to others to set the path, but we are all part and parcel of this movement, and we need to put our minds together and carve the path that is going to lead us to this revolution and define who we are and where we're going. So thank you again, everybody, for joining in and participating in the discussion. I will now, I guess, turn it back to the president to close the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, once more, thank you for all coming. If you've been here for 2.5 hours, it wasn't, today's meeting was started not so well because of the link. We'll make sure that in the next subsequent meetings, we start promptly and make sure that you have the proper link for us to get going. Our sincere thanks. Already, Phyllis have already done it, but I have to add so that anytime we call on Nana, he will come in or even join us in the next 2 sessions. As you all know, the next session is on the 21st. Is that okay, Robert? Yeah, Kofi? It's on the 21st, and hopefully you should all come in and then join. I mean, almost everybody here knows about the PAG, but let me repeat that we have a provisional license as a political party. We are working towards a full license to operate as a political party. People will ask, why is it that we are having, there are so many parties, yet we are having the social justice, the PAG, Progressive Alliance for Ghana, as a political party. It is not that we know that there are other political parties, but that our idea of social justice is different. We are also not anti the other parties, particularly the parties that claim to have the same ideas with us, the CPP, the PP, the PNC, the PPP, and all other parties. We hope that one day we will all come together and have a better party that will challenge. The reason why we have formed the PAG is to be an alternative. We see that the NDC and the NPP are the same kettle of fish, a bowl and its lid, and we want to work towards social justice. Let's continue to work as modestly as we can, and hopefully all of you, let's continue to support each other. Let's be patient. The struggle is not an easy one. Ghana is really a terrible country to live in. And it's not like those of us who were lucky to be born in the 50s and the 60s enjoyed Ghana a bit, and the 70s to some extent enjoyed Ghana. Those of you who were unlucky enough to be born in the 80s and 90s and 20,000, you see what is happening to you. It's all about money, how much money to make, how much wealth to make. It is not about people, it's not about ideas. We have to work towards ideas, what can move this country forward. And the PAG is committed to that. And we hope that you will all support us. If you are here and we don't have your address or your email, please put it at the chat area so that we can have it and contact you. Once again, thank you all for coming. And our final thanks goes to Nana. Because he's a chief, you have to thank him more than 100 times. Otherwise, next time, and I remember one time, if you don't thank him, imagine the work he's doing. He had so much to do. He left the work to come and then speak to us today. We hope that he will come another time. And we even hope that he will be part of us. We hope that you'll be part of the PAG, to guide us, You call yourself an old man, but many of us here are also old. So let's help the young people. Let's guide them. And then with your knowledge, with your ideas, you can move us forward. Without much ado, thank you all for coming.
All right. See you this afternoon or later next week. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Unless anybody has anything otherwise, starting up. Bye-bye to everybody.
Bye.
And Nana, if I come to Ghana, I will visit.
Oh yeah, Isikado. I know Isikado. I used to be around New Takoradi, so I know Isikado.
Okay.
Yeah. I play ball over there, Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a tidy boy. All right. Good night. Good morning.
Nana, I'll send you my email.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.